I'm going to give Bible. Then we're going to take the truths from that text. And then we're going to talk about how it is affecting modern relationship. I have a theory on spiritual derangement that we're going to talk about today and how it's manifesting through prioritizing money over everything. Let's pull out our Bibles. Let's pull out our Bibles, church. Ready? 1 Timothy chapter 6. And this is written by Paul to Timothy. Timothy is like his protege. So it's called Timothy. It's not written by Timothy. It's written to Timothy. If anyone teaches otherwise and does not agree to the sound instruction of our Lord Jesus Christ and to godly teaching, they are conceited and understand nothing. They have an unhealthy interest in controversies and quarrels about words that result in envy, strife, malicious talk, evil suspicions, and constant friction between people of corrupt mind who have been robbed of the truth and who think that godliness is a means to financial gain. Verse 6, but godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Let's stop right here. Verse 11 through 16 then becomes specific instruction to Timothy. And then I'm going to skip over that specific instruction to him and what he is about to endure. I'm going to go now to verse 17. Y'all, you got to be patient for the setup. You got to be patient. That's a principle in and of itself. Wait, that was a word. Hold on. I feel like that was a word in and of itself. Wait. How about that? Verse 17, command those. Sometimes you gotta soak before you try to get the squeeze. It's a word already. You gotta soak before you try to squeeze. You just want to get the juice. You gotta soak first. Verse 17, command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good. This is Timothy. He's saying, Timothy, do this to them. He's saying, Timothy, with the people you come across, like, do this for them. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, they will lay up treasure for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. There is so much to say about this, about just that alone, y'all. But we need to go to the biblical model to take some spiritual truths. First thing here, I want to highlight some of the verses. Verse 3 to 4. Let's go back to verse 3 and 4. If anyone teaches otherwise and does not agree to the sound instruction of our Lord Jesus Christ and to godly teaching, they are conceited and understand nothing. They have an unhealthy interest in controversies and quarrels about words that result in envy, strife, malicious talk, evil suspicions. Stop right there. If it does not align with the principles of God, which is what Jesus taught, the epitome, right? That's what the epitome of that. If it doesn't align with the principles of God, that's what Jesus taught, it's nothing and will lead to destruction. It doesn't align with godly teaching, then you are conceited. You must think you know better, is what they're saying, is what he's saying. You must think that you know better. But interesting how thinking that you know better doesn't mean that you know better. You must think that you know better. You are conceited. You understand nothing. That's our first thing, right? If it doesn't align with the principles of God, it's nothing and will lead to destruction. But now we're talking about that. That's in general. And now today we're going to talk about specifically in the context of money. specifically in the context of money, if the way that you relate to money isn't in alignment with the principles of God, it's essentially nothing. These are illuminating spiritual truths. Let's keep going. Number 4, verse 4. It says, these are the people who are not aligned with godly principles. They have an unhealthy interest. That's so interesting in today's time to think about that. They have an unhealthy interest. This is the NIV version. They have an unhealthy interest in controversies and quarrels about words that result in envy, strife, malicious talk, evil suspicions. I was like, it's kind of strange that you're so into that kind of talk that leads to that kind of outcome. You have an unhealthy interest in things that cause strife. Specifically in the context of money, we're talking about people who use God to get money for themselves. People who take on the label of godly as a way to try to attract or get things for themselves, not because it's right or true. I appropriate. Wait a second. Can we talk about, I think I might have just came onto something. Is there maybe such a thing as Christian appropriation? Is there maybe such a thing as God appropriation, where I take the image of this thing and I try to put it on myself as a way to appear like this thing when I'm not that thing? Let's keep it very simple. I took on the thing. I took on the thing that doesn't belong to me because that's not who I am. I took it on and I put it on me to appear one way when I am not that way. I've appropriated God as a way to attract things, to get things for myself, not because it's right or true. I'm not putting this on because I believe it's right or I believe that it's true. I'm putting this on to get something for myself. If taking on the image of God will help me to get what it is that I want, I won't do the work of becoming like God. Wait a second. Something was just revealed. Something was just revealed right there. Verse 9, those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. People who love money are led to ruin and destruction. And let's be very clear. I should have said this at the beginning. I'm in no way I'm not trying to save your soul with this. I'm not trying to hold on. I'm not trying to save your soul through Jesus Christ. It alone. If that's how you get there, that's how you get there. I'm not trying to save your soul through Jesus Christ. I think your soul gets saved. I think you become redeemed. I'm using quotation marks. I got to talk about this on another podcast. Let me stick to this. I am not saying that money is bad. I think it's better to have it than to not have it. I'm not saying that money is bad, but I'm saying your relationship to it can be bad and destructive. I'm not even saying it. Let's go to Bible. Let's go to Islam. Let's go to anybody that's talking about truth. And nobody that's about some truth is about to say money is bad. It's not money that's bad. My relationship to money can become bad. It's not money, it's the way that I covet it. So verse 10, y'all, verse 10. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Pause right here. A root, not the root of all. Money is a root of all evil, just like there are other roots of evil things. When we say evil, it doesn't always have to be this pie in the sky thing. We talk about evil, we're talking about destructive tendencies. We're talking about dysfunction. When we say evil, we're talking about things that break things down. They don't build things up. When we talk about evil, we're talking about things that take you out and don't put you on. When we're talking about evil, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about a devil in a red jumpsuit and a tail coming out his ass, running around around with a pitchfork trying to get you in the middle of the night. We're talking about things that break you down mentally. We're talking about things that break your family down and divide you and split you up. We're talking about things that leave you mentally and emotionally fragmented. Yeah, we're talking about evil in that regard. Are you with me? Does that make sense? So this is a root of evil. There are other roots. There's other things that if they take hold in you, I feel like I'm preaching today. If they take hold in you, it will produce destruction. This is a root. Yeah, I kind of miss doing some Bible study, but if I do Bible study again, it's got to be like we're using this as a model, not the model. I'd have to be very clear about that. It also says here, some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Wandered from the faith. This is how I think of it. When you stray from godly principles, you no longer believe that the way to everything that you want is through God. You started to believe, that's faith. You no longer believe that the way to get everything you want is through God. You have adopted the belief that everything you want or some things that you want must be done apart from godly principles, apart from God. And I'm going to be I want to really highlight that apart from godly, if you are not in line with godly principles, you are apart from God. Because God is principled and orderly and structured the same every day and forevermore. So there's a way of God's being that is the same all of the time. What is that? These are principles. These are principles. These are laws. This is honestly, is this too deep of a conversation? If you're not living in God with godly principle, you are apart from God. So I'm talking about right now specifically to the people who claim God but don't live in a godly manner. You've appropriated God for some sort of gain, but your integrity is lacking. When we go behind the veil of the image you tried to project, we see dysfunction. We see if you have bad fruit coming out of your life, you must be out of alignment with godly principles. You must be. You must be. You must be, because God living with godly principles produces a certain result. It says some people eager for money have wandered from the faith. You've come out of line with living like God. You're out of line with the principles and the laws of God. You're out of alignment. And when I say law, I'm talking about the way God works, the things that produce certain results, the things you can count on. You're out of alignment. The things that if you do this, it leads to that. If you're out of alignment with godly principles that lead to positive, healthy, functional outcomes, if you're out of alignment with that, you have wandered from the faith. I don't believe that the way to getting what I want is through living like God. I think I got to do something a little different. Something I don't believe. Faith, something I don't believe about living that way. Something I don't believe about living that way, in that godly way. I don't believe that that's going to get me what it is that I want. I think that in order to get what I want, I've got to step out of line. I think in order to get what it is that I want, I have to step out of line. I have wandered from the faith. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the truth to take away, y'all. Money over godliness will lead to ruin. That's the main truth we're taking away. I must value godly living. I'm not talking about adhering to a specific religion. I must value godly living, godly character. I must value that over financial gain. Let me know what you think in the comments after you listen to this full episode.